Wait, no.
I'm sorry.
Go.
Hi, Jen Jensen, Inside the Army. Given the high up tempo of helicopters in theater, and General Crosby has touched on this a little bit at hearing last week, what are you worried about in terms of helicopter sustainment until you reach a new future vertical? What are you doing to sort of combat the worry?
No, that's a great question. As you know, we have a reset program. So every aircraft that deploys comes back and gets reset at multiple different sites around the country. We feel pretty comfortable about that. We've learned over the last 8 to 10 years of what we're doing to basically, not only do we reset the aircraft, but we put in coordination with the PMs all of the modernization efforts. So we've actually got a more integrated fleet than we've ever had, which makes it very powerful. So the reset program, we believe, is going to continue, and is going to continue. And as the war draws down, we will continue to bring those aircraft back and reset them. That's step one. Step two is we have an add-on to that. It's called AIM, Airframe Inspection Maintenance Program. And this is a program that we're working between us and the PMs, and we're starting with the training fleet because, quite honestly, our training fleet, 500 plus aircraft that Tony has down in Rucker, need a very similar thing to reset. And so we've started that process and are doing the analytics. We've done it in 11, we're doing some more in 12 to basically develop a airframe inspection and maintenance program as a follow-on to reset. But will complement what's going on in reset for those aircraft first in the training fleet. And then based on analysis between us and the PM of how often we have to do that to our airframes to extend the life to make sure that they're safe, sound, and airworthy. And so it is an integrated approach that we have to do that in coordination with the modernization programs that we have. But quite honestly, we're going to be in sustainment for quite a while. And because of that, we've got to make sure what we're doing in AMCOM is trying to develop more of a supply chain management approach, not only to our U.S. aircraft, but also with the large number of foreign military sales that we're doing on aircraft. We're integrating those in and hopefully reducing costs, both in the cost of the airframe as well as repair parts and the continuation of those repair parts in the future. And so it's kind of a win-win for us, and it's a win-win for the whole community here as we go forward. So we feel pretty comfortable. We have the sustainment piece working pretty strongly.
Yeah, the only I would just pile on that. The reset is doing a great job dealing with the cracks and corrosion from flying in the environment we're going in. It's been adaptive. General Rogers' team working with our PMs to define, because it's a change. We just didn't put out a technical bulletin. We're changing it based on lessons learned every time they come back. So it's been a great effort, and getting after those fleets that have not been deployed for the same kind of issue. The one that keeps me up at night is flying at this hop tempo at these kind of rates. Reset and AIM is not a service life extension program. And we're flying these things at 4 to 6 and sometimes 7 times the normal op tempo. That's putting wear and tear on these systems that reset doesn't fix. So General Rogers is partnering. We're trying to determine what kind of depot overhaul program do we need to implement. You know, we used to do an on condition, it was called ACE, Aircraft Condition Evaluation. We need to restart something along those lines. And I'm not prepared to tell you what that is today, because we're still trying to define that based on the scope and what's out there. We've done some service life studies within the office to try and get our arms around what flying at this op tempo in this stressful environment, because we're flying heavier, we're flying higher, which puts more wear on the airframe than what had been planned. We're trying to understand that scope of what that is, and then that will then define the frequency and the scope of what needs to be done on that inspection.
And how are you conducting those studies? Is it just what you're seeing coming back?
We're looking at all the maintenance evaluation criteria that's been, the MECs that have been put out there. We're going through every one of them and databasing those and analyzing and seeing where we're finding the wear and tear, the scope of what it is. There's a chart you'll see in my briefing Wednesday if you're still here that talks about we thought we were wearing in some areas where we're not, and we're finding we're wearing some more in some other areas. So this is still, I'm not ready to stand up, and General Rogers is not ready to stand up and say, this is what we got to do today, because we don't know. We're flying in territory that, I mean, we're doing things we've never done before. And we're trying to understand and minimize that, because guess what? He and me nor I want to go run into the building saying, I need all this money to do this program. until we understand what we're dealing with. So what I can tell you is we're looking at it in detail, but we're not ready to step up today, I think, and say what the scope of that needs to be.
We've done a number of aircraft. We literally take them completely apart, strip the paint off of them, and re-inspect the frame with all the engineers, and are doing analysis based on that, both coming out of the fight, coming out of the training fleet, and then actually right now we're doing some that they have been reset in the past, deployed, came back, and now we're going to tear them completely down because now they've been through at least one reset, perhaps two, and see what they look like. So it's an analytical approach we're taking. It's very detailed to make sure we get it right.